Let's bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Lord, we stand before you in humble prayer before we start this program. We realize that without your blessings, we would not be able to succeed with the plans we have for this activity. Bestow your grace and divine wisdom to all of us present here, so we could cooperate and enjoy camaraderie and love for the greater glory of your name. Bless also those we have left behind our homes. May you grant them peace and happiness as they go about their activities. Bless people around the globe that they may enjoy peace and the goodness of your love. We ask all these through your mighty name. Amen.
A wonderful good night to those who are locked in on another episode of The Wrap. I want to say thank you, and thank you for being here with us tonight once more. So, guys, I know this program was scheduled for last night, but we had a bit of setbacks. Or I should say our councilman, Mr. Diarmas, was a little busy yesterday, so we had to make some adjustments for today. Because I know persons did reach out to me, and they were interested, or for a matter of fact, they were so anxious to hear from our councilman, especially those within the constituency, which is constituency 4 as well. I know about 2 persons reached out to me and said they want to be in this program tonight because they want to hear what is in this 2024 budget for them. Right, so I would leave that up to the councilman to give us details. So with this being said, I want to say a special good night to Tulsiram Mohan Chetty, who's on board here, or I say who is locked in with us. And for the others, I'm not seeing you, so I can't say who it is there. But what you can do, send me a comment. Good night to everyone that are tuning in, and let me know where you tune in from so I can give you a big up on the program tonight. And guys, remember to share the live as you tune in. Share the live, bring in a friend, bring in a family. Good night, Shirley Surjbali, watching from New York. Thank you, Shirley, for being here with us tonight. And one of my loyal follower, Aliyah Mohammed. Thank you for tuning in, Aliyah. And please share the live, guys, as you come in. So I must say that we are in the seasons of our national budget. Our 2024 budget, and we know we have a budget, something that is unprecedented that we would have never seen before, a budget of this size. And that alone speaks volume for itself. It speaks of an economy that is growing rapidly, right? And this is what you call a proper budget for the people of Ghana. So, guys, I want you to continue following up. For the details in various ministries, you will have your updates, and I will ensure that you guys have access to all the information that is necessary. And I know persons are following the following DPI page, they're following President Irfan Ali, they follow all the news media that is being highlighting the progress of the government. And please, there's a lot of negativity on the other side out there who are trying to go to the opposite. But come on, we have to be fair enough. And we're not here to defame or to destroy or to abuse out. We are here to share with you, right? And that is what we want to do. You have to remember at the end of the day, our main or our common goal is to move the country forward. Despite our differences, we are people. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. We know that that is our national motto, right? And there are people who go against the president's initiative of a One Guyana. When he speaks of a One Guyana, he speaks of a government working for every single human being, every single citizen of this country, despite your race, religion, and political affiliation. Good night, Fred Chesney. Good night, Lynette Cornelius. So, guys, I don't want to delay. Let us go straight into discussion. So, without any further delay, I take this opportunity to bring with me on screen Mr. Alfonso de Armas. So, good night to you, Councilman, and how are you tonight, sir?
Hey, Kevin. Good night. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah. Well, that shouldn't be a question I should be asking because, just apart from being a councilman, a citizen, all right, just a normal citizen, and seeing a budget like this, right, we all know that we are on the right track, and we all can say we are seeing a brighter future moving forward. So, I would allow you to introduce yourself formally because I know some persons might not, especially those in the diaspora. So you can introduce yourself to them.
So my name is Alfonso de Armas, and I'm the constituency councillor for constituency number 4 in Georgetown. I'm relatively new to politics, to formal politics in Ghana. I've always followed it quite closely, and I decided to throw my hat in the ring, so to speak, after years of being a keyboard warrior. So I thought it was time to come off of Facebook and actually try and get things done in my community.
I like that. I like the part that you mentioned, the keyboard warrior. I wish that I know a lot of persons who are looking at this program tonight would take that as an example or take that page out of your book. It is time we come off this keyboard warring and let us go there and put our efforts. Despite whatever direction you go in, whatever is your political choice or whatever, we have to get out there together, right? We have to get out there and make it happen, right? Politics has its time, right? And I guess some persons don't understand that. Some persons don't know how to separate their professional life from their political life, right? We can have our views, our opinions, we could have our likes and dislikes, but at the end of the day, right, our common goal is making Guyana great again. And that is why I admire the president. Everywhere he go and he speak, you never hear him trying to belittle anyone or anything. He always saying to somebody, come on board, get on the train, let us work together. I don't care your ethnic group. I don't care what is your choice of party or whatever. Just get on board and let us make Guyana great again. So, Councilman, we know that we would have seen an unprecedented budget that we would have never seen before. $1 trillion. This morning, a guy called me directly, and you can know that he was on his calculator. So the man said to me, he said, Mr. Lorimer, let us do a breakdown, right? He said, so we have a budget of $1 trillion, and he said, if you divide that into 800,000, right? He's calculating. He said Guyana's population is about 800,000, and if you divide that $1 trillion by 800,000, you're looking at something about 1.250. The man was calculating. He was precise. 1,250,000 per person. He said, why not the government give us that 1.2 million 50 1.2 million 50. So I said, okay. I said that sounds like a good number, right? And yeah, it sounds good, but put into consideration, right, the things that are our daily economical dealings, or economical budgets that we have to deal with, in terms of, we have electricity, we have water, all these things, education, we health, sports, and these things. So what will you do with your 1.250? And then you can hear he pass back on the phone and so on. And I say this to say that we know, especially our TikTok friend, this is one of the breakdown he's going to come down with. But I like when people come with these ideas, I like them come and explain it in details, how the people can benefit from that for a next year until the next 2025 budget. So what is your views on this budget here, Councilman?
Well, I don't really want to focus yet on all the numbers, but the budget was crafted with particular framework and particular policies in mind. A big part of how the budget was crafted was a focus on avoiding the trap of too much recurring expenditure. And what I mean by that is instituted transfers to people, for example, that down the line become really expensive, or could become really expensive to continue as a government policy when the price of oil, for example, drops, right? And this is how governments and economies have been brought down before, with when you have a government in power who made the easy political choice, because the PPP could easily have said, well, everybody gets $1 million, everybody gets $200,000, and everybody's happy, and they get votes. But it's difficult. While that's the easy choice, it's not what they did. What they did is they created a budget with some things in mind. The first one is, you clearly see it, is wealth creation, giving people the opportunity to create their own wealth, not just a government handout. A government handout, you get $100,000 today, and tomorrow you don't have, you depend again on another handout of $100,000. In other words, you're not really creating your own wealth. Creating your own wealth so that you're sustainable and you depend less on the whims of a politician for your livelihood, which is something that is, I think, a little alien, or is not what people expect. And I see the political opposition uses that as a tool to say that the PPP doesn't care. The PPP obviously cares a great deal, which is why they don't want people to depend on government for their entire livelihood. And I think while this budget does cater for the vulnerable, and it does make sure that the vulnerable are taken care of, I think the overarching theme or framework of the budget is to put more money in people's pockets so that they have the opportunity to create wealth for themselves.
Okay. Well, that is something more critical that you explained there. I believe that this just looking at all the various areas where these allocations is, right? And some of the main part, the main ones that captured me is, first, I look at the pensioners. I saw they would have been increased. I think it's 36 or 37,000. I think it's $36,000, right? We look in the education sector. The education sector. It's a massive. I think it's I can't remember the number off my
I,
head.
I, I particularly love I particularly love their focus in the education sector because that is one of the best ways which you can create sustainable economic growth. Because once you're moving from an economy that is agrarian, so Guyana has had or is moving from a recent agrarian past. Our main exports were recently sugar and rice, which is low skilled, low and low wages to an economy that is more dependent on better skilled or high skilled petroleum engineers, for example. The disposable income is higher. People are wealthier as a result of the higher skills that they command, right? And the way to transition, or one of the best ways to transition from a lower skilled economy to a high skilled economy, is through education and training, right? And not everything is not all these skills are done through university. I noticed that the government was attacked because they focused on technical courses on Coursera and things like that. But and I think the minister of finance touched on this yesterday in his speech, is that there's a mismatch very often in when university grads let's say they finish UG and they finish with a degree in something that is not in demand right now, right? So what the government has done with Gold is to increase the availability of programs that Guyanese could enroll for free. You upskill yourself. You are able to command a higher wage in the labor market. It's very simple. It's very simple economics, right? The more skills you have, the higher wages you can command in the market, and that is how you create wealth for yourself without depending on a government handout from every other month.
And one of the thing that I admire, I as we speak about education, you know, it is more, and I keep saying this, right? One of the thing I keep saying is that in 2020, the PPPC administration would have submitted their manifesto for 2020 to 2025, and I was saying that so far up to 2023, I believe that this government has already delivered more than 95% of that already. We still have 2 years ahead of us. Like when the president was here in Linden, there were some persons I overheard who were saying that, look, they just come with this bridge thing because it's election time, and the president made it very clear to say that, look, now is not time for elections. The government have 2 more years, 2 more solid years in office, right, to work for the people. That bridge, that was a part of the manifesto's plan. Now, speaking about
It is a part of the manifesto plan. And it ties in with the infrastructure plan for all of Guyana. Are they only supposed to build or to focus on infrastructure projects in the first 2 years of their government, so that they can't be accused of electioneering and campaigning using infrastructure as a sort of bribe? No, these are projects that must be built throughout the length and breadth of Guyana if Guyana is to move from an agrarian economy into an economy of the future. There's no way around it. These things must be done, and it doesn't matter if it's yesterday, today, or 2025, just the day before elections. These things must be built.
exactly. Well, that's what I was saying. Going back to the government manifesto's plan, I believe that they would have delivered more than 95%. And going back to the education sector, I most I should not most, for a matter of fact, all that is being especially presented on this year's budget, you can see this is in accordance to its manifesto's plan, right? And for a matter of fact, you even seen more than that. Look at where the school cash grant is now today. On the 2024 budget, we see the school cash grants has been increased to $45,000. I saw also we have $3 billion to purchase over 502,072 more textbook, right? And this textbook issue, this is something. For a matter of fact, we didn't even see anything like this under a previous administration, right?
Do you know why that's so important? Because a government can't, and I think this is what this is what confuses, or I think this is what the opposition and also and the social media detractors tend to confuse, is that a government can't guarantee you a particular outcome, because the choices must be yours, right? What the government is doing is to give you all the opportunity in the world, all the opportunity that they can, so that everybody is on the same page to start, right? This is the issue with textbooks and the cash grants, right? People in Guyana, not everybody can afford a textbook, for example. So when the government invests in making sure that students and families have textbooks and have what is it, $45,000 now that they can spend on school clothes, on school supplies, it ensures that students around the country are on the same page, right? Whether they are successful or not after that, well, that's really a function of choice. Families have choices. Are they going to spend the cash grant on something else, or are they going to make sure that their kids have school supplies? Are they going to make sure that the students that their kids have use the textbooks that are provided, or are they not going to do it? But the government ensures that everybody has the same opportunity around the country, which is terribly important.
Exactly, and that's the thing. The when you think back, right, Councilman, um, uh, when the previous administration was there, they took away that cash grant, right? And the cash grant was only $4,500. Apart from that $4,500,
Was that what it was? They took that away?
yeah,
It was only
when
4 5. Wow.
yeah when the PPP demitted office in 2015, right? Um, the PPP left a $10,000 cash grant along with $2,500. Right, it was $2,500 was the school voucher. Um, when APNU went into office, for matter of fact, they said okay, they make an increase, and the increase they add this $2,000 more, which was $4,500, and they took away that $10,000 grant, right? So they took away $10,000 and they gave back the people $2,000. So that increased from 2,500 to 4,500, right? So
That was that's typical of their time in office.
exactly,
That's why they were
exactly,
removed.
exactly. And for the 5 years they were there were no increase in that school grants. There were no school grants, for a matter of fact, because they took that away completely. All right. So to now think about it, we're talking about textbooks now, right? Over $3 billion in textbook. Now you think about it, and our viewers here can speak on that. You think about you only having a voucher of $4,500, and you still have to find textbook for your children. I can imagine how hard that used to be. Well, for matter of fact, I can't say I imagine, because also I have children going to school, so I know what it is like. Now, this government took office, they bring back the cash grant, and they also multiplied by far. So now you having a 10,000, and look how that $45,000, right? That $45,000, right? It's just basically for school clothing, right? Because why? The school provide exercise books, the school provide textbooks, the school provide hot meal, and all these things. So it shows how the in the education sector, it shows how this government is injecting more into education, because in order to have a stable economy, right, you need people who are qualified, right?
Yes, exactly. It's part of it's not just injecting money for injecting money's sake. It's part of a framework which is clearly paying dividends. I
Exactly.
noticed that they're building a bunch of new secondary schools. Again, very important. Make sure that people around Guyana, not just in the coast and urban areas, have access to a sound secondary school education. Which, by the way, is a huge indicator of whether you're going to remain in poverty or whether you're going to have some sort of upward mobility, right? So,
Exactly.
is it 16 new secondary schools are going to be built around Guyana? That's
Exactly.
huge. Can you imagine how many lives that's going to impact? Lives that lives without which that intervention would probably be confined to a different life.
Exactly.
Education is
Exactly.
really an opening for wealth creation in the future.
Now, one of the thing, Mr. Councilman, I know that also you as a businessman, I noticed there is a massive $450 million injected into the small businesses. Um, can you tell me, just share with me as a businessman, like how as a counselor and as a citizen and also as a businessman, how do you find this and what do you think about this? How will this impact you as a citizen, you as a businessman, and also your constituency that you represent as a counselor?
Well, first of all, before I touch on that, we've most of us listening would have probably had tried to approach the bank before for a loan, and you know how incredibly difficult it is to get a loan in Guyana, to get financing in Guyana if we don't have some sort of collateral to offer, right? What this small business grants and it's injections for the small business programs do is they give smaller, younger entrepreneurs that don't have, well, I don't know what the banks ask for. Is it 75% of equity worth 75% or collateral worth 75% of what you're asking? I don't have that to their names. It gives them the opportunity to start their own business, to become entrepreneurs, and again, to create their own wealth without depending on government handouts. It's a huge intervention, which would impact communities, smaller communities. It would impact communities uh, in a bigger way than if they were just given a cash grant every month, because now you're able to stimulate your local economy a lot more.
Okay, okay. So that's one thing you mentioned there, and it brings back something to me. I can remember when the government was upgrading in I think it was if I can recall that street there, that main street heading back to the Penitence Market side. I remember they were upgrading there, and I saw one opposition member. For the matter of fact, precisely I remembered it was Christopher Jones who was saying, saying to the people, look, the government is coming to take back your land, and it's a smart thing. I remember that. And something you mentioned there clicked back to me is that this when you go to the bank to acquire a loan, there are some requirements, and one of the requirements, you must have some solid proof of ownership, whether it's a land, it's a house, property in general, right? And it must be upgraded, right? But this government make it easy because a lot of young people, especially who's going to benefit from these small businesses, might not have a land. They don't have anything in the name whatsoever, right? So they
Exactly.
can, right, right.
Right. I'll give you an example. It's right in my very own community. There's a there's somebody this was during election time. When I was getting to know my members of my community, who complained bitterly. He said he had an idea for a neighborhood stall, and yeah, a neighborhood stall, but he just didn't have the capital to invest in the goods that he needed for the stall. He said he was certain that his idea, the way that he was going to sell his goods and where he was going to position it, was going to be a hit, but he just didn't have the capital. You know that he qualified. I advised him to register a business formally, and he qualified for a small business grant. And today, I'm happy to say that I pass him almost every day on the way to work. He's there, he's playing his trade, and he's quite successful, quite happy. He got his start. He's not depending on a government handout every month, and no social media commentator can tell him that the government doesn't care about him because he's not getting $100,000 or $50,000 or $30,000 every month. He is making his own money. He's making his own way, and that's a very dignified, very fulfilling way to live. But very often, what people need is just that opportunity to create that for yourself, and
Okay,
that's what this government, and that's what this budget has envisioned, to take care of the vulnerable, while at the same time giving people the most opportunity that the most opportunities to create their own success.
Okay, okay. All right. So, Councilman, I know you have other engagements. So before you go, anything you want to share with us, with the viewers, and before you go.
There was something that I just a few things that were also in the budget that I was especially happy about. Uh, Again, the government has, and this isn't just something that they just started with this budget, but even last year, the government has worked with commercial banks because they realize um, that uh, access to financing is something that is a challenge. It could be a challenge that could be challenging in Guyana. They've worked with commercial banks to lower interest rates for lower income borrowers, which is a huge thing. Again, it fits into the scheme of creating their own wealth, of giving people the opportunity to create their own wealth. And I hear also a theme amongst detractors that you can't eat infrastructure. Why is the government spending all this money on infrastructure? But people don't realize that without good infrastructure, for example, and I don't know how much money the government has invested into farm to market roads to help small farmers, to help farmers get their goods out from the back dams and from their farms out at the back into to take them to market. I don't know if people realize the impact that transportation has on the final price of the goods that they're buying at the market, and on the livelihood of the farmers. Those investments, while they may not reap immediate benefits, they do pay huge dividends in the medium and the long term. Right, it's dealing with the supply side of the economy rather than the stimulating the demand. Also, infrastructure projects open up new lands and opportunities for landowners alongside these new projects to benefit. This new highway that was built, the Heroes Highway, part of a low and medium income plot runs right alongside that Heroes Highway. Do you know what that does? That you know that what that does to the property values there, and how easy and how easy it becomes for people who are located low income people who are located homes and lots around there. What that does to the value of their homes, and how they will be able to leverage that new equity at the bank to secure loans to go to school, to start up businesses. Those are all things that have huge impacts, which detractors either don't know or they're willfully trying to gloss over.
Exactly. And as you speak on infrastructure, what I think persons do, or some persons might not understand, is that the country's value goes up depends on the infrastructure, right? And if you check it in most countries, in most developed countries, right, infrastructure is always number one on their list, right? So that is what make Guyana even more valuable infrastructure. So I believe the government is in the right direction, um, in infrastructure, like you mentioned. People trying to get goods out to the back dam and these things, and and goods, and not only goods, not is not only, we talk about food, but we have other resources. We have timber, we have gold, and all these things. Right. The other day I was surprised. When not to say surprised, but I was heading into Lethem, and it took me less than, let's see, probably an hour and 15 minutes from Linden to 58 miles. At one time, it used to take about 4 hours. And that road is already 101 km completed. So the
Well,
government is moving fast,
think of the
right?
impact that that's going to have on holders of small concessions. Right, that's going to have a huge impact.
All
So
right.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy with with the direction, with the framework, with the policy behind the budget. It was a big budget, but you can see the thought, the thinking behind it, and I supported 1,000%. It was really well crafted.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Councilman. So I know you have to make a run. So it was really a pleasure having you here tonight, sharing with us and being with us. You know, um, and I can see so far you're doing a great job within your municipality, in your constituency, and I want to say on behalf of the people of Region 4, by extent, thank you for your service in a very short space of time. So I know you will do well. And also, I want to say thank you for being on this program tonight, and we hope to see more of you before you go.
Thank you,
All right.
Kevin.
All right. Do have a blessed night, and we will see you again when you're ready to come again, brother.
You just let me know.
All right. All right. All right, guys. So that was Councilman Alfonso de Armas, a young man. He was recently elected, not selected. He was elected to be on the council, representing constituency 4 in Georgetown. And I believe, like the other councillor, we have Councillor Dan Singh, we have Councillor Jewel, is what's her name? Jewel's. It's Jewel Singh. I can't remember what's her name as well. I think she's somewhere from Ramville. She's also doing a tremendous job within our constituency. So we must say that I believe that the government, when they are placing these councils within their constituency, they ensure they make the perfect choice. So speaking about the small businesses, I know some persons they had some questions. How could they have access to these small business grants, right? And it is simple, right? I want persons to understand, because they are fingers pointing, and there's a lot of misinformation going out there. And again, I will take the opportunity to clarify that and clear that up tonight, because we don't want people to be misled with the false information. There are some persons who are out there, the mischievous ones, saying to people that, oh, you have to be a PPP supporter before you get the grant and all. It's nothing of the sort. They are requirements, and you have to meet those requirements. Because remember, right? You remember, this is not it's a channel away from persons. It's a channel away from the bank for persons, right, who might not have assets or these things to declare to the bank, right? So the government have made an avenue, and just understand, this is not a loan, this is a grant. And the government will want to ensure that there is some form of information to justify, right? To justify these spendings, because when you have a petty opposition like what we have now to deal with, it's everything they pick on, right? Everything they pick on. And the government want to ensure that their documents, all their accountability and transparency, break it down to that, is on top, right? So when you ask for these documents, it's just, and most of the time it's just a simple business registration, a recent business registration updated, your ID cards, and that's basically it, right? And you can apply for it. So we don't want persons being misled to say, oh, that the PVP is giving loans only to PVP people, because that was one of the things being peddled, right? And we have to make that very clear. It is nothing of the sort. Just fit yourself in, apply, have all your documents in place. It's not no big fancy document that that you have to expense yourself to get, right? So I believe that the government is now reinforcing something they would have started, and that is for the small businesses. And I can tell you right here in Linden in Region 10, I am seeing a lot of small businesses that benefited from this program, from the small businesses grant. I've seen these businesses are growing rapidly, which means that number one, you have a growing economy, and number two, people are even more wise in spending, right? And people are utilizing the monies for what they would have requested it for. So, I've seen this under the previous administration, where these monies were like, it was like free money given away, because there were no form of scrutinizing. Nobody used to scrutinize these persons to know, all right, what are you requesting these funds for, and all these things. So people get the money free and they just spend it out. And when you go back to check on the businesses, there were no business. I can say this because I was one of the officers who would normally go to check back. When you go back, somebody tell you, "Oh, yeah, I'm mining chicken." And look, this might sound funny, but it is fact. There was one area that I went in on the Linden Suzdek Highway. I don't want to identify the village because I don't want persons to feel that I am attacking them. But listen to this story, right? And you might find it funny, but it is facts. There one person who said to me, "All right, I'm mining, I'm rearing chicken. They got a $50,000 rearing chicken, right?" So I will inform them, okay, I'm coming in next week to check on you, check how the chickens are going, and so on. You know what this young lady do? This young lady went by one of her family and borrowed some chicken. Here I tell you, this is a story. It might sound like I'm joking, but literally, she went and borrowed some white chicken to put in the pen, just to show me that look, I am I'm rearing the chicken. I have chickens in the pen. When I heard that story, and it is her whole family that said this to me. She went and borrowed her cousin chicken and put in the pen. So when you come, you see chicken, right? So these were the things that were happening. And if they want to talk, if the opposition want to talk about squandering taxpayers' money, that is what was happening under the previous administration. So that is why this government is ensuring that persons, whatever you requested a fund for, they ensure that you put it in that direction that you requested it for. So, people need to make use of this wisely, and, be thankful for it. Be thankful for it because I know that this is a part of the elevation of your status, the elevation of moving from point A to point B in your life. So thanks to the government again for small businesses grant. We see that under the 2024 budget, we have $450 million for the small businesses grant. So, guys, I know, like I said, the program is back again in full time. I was in and out of the air. That is why you haven't been seeing me for a very long time. Everything is up and running, so you will be seeing me more often now. And remember, the program is from Monday to Friday from 7 to 8 o'clock or 7 to 8 p.m. in the night. And on Sunday afternoons, we have the Sunday Gaff. That is from 6 to whatever time we finish gaffing on Sunday afternoon. So once again, I want to say it was a pleasure having you guys here tonight. And remember to continue to share the program. Remember to get it out there, get the message out there, and continue to follow the right programs as well. There are a lot of misinformation being put out there, and persons need to follow the right program and get the right information. Don't be misled by, I call them the propaganda machines, right? So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Ms. Ali Mohammed, thank you for being here tonight. And my good friend here, Jian Ram, all the way from, I think it's New York or in the US as well. Good night to you as well. And thank you for tuning in with us tonight. So, guys, once more, please ensure to continue to follow this program and have access to all the information that you need. So, this is my time for tonight, and I will see you tomorrow night, same time, same place. I saw somebody's asking me to have Council dancing on the program. I will try to reach out to him and also other counselors as well, so you can have the updates that you need. So, with this being said, this is my time for tonight. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow night, same time, same place.